Welcome to the Real Estate Majlis podcast, where we dive into the latest real estate insights and trends. Whether you are a seasoned investor or a first-time buyer, our podcast is here to provide valuable information and expert advice. This episode is powered by Behyut, the UAE's leading property platform and proud member of the Dubizo Group. Whether you're buying, selling, or renting, Behyut connects you with real estate solutions tailored to your needs using innovative tools like TrueCheck, TrueEstimate, TrueBroker, and Behyut GPT. From finding your next home to advertising your listings with confidence, Behyut offers real photos, real prices, and real properties, helping you make informed decisions in the market. So welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Majlis podcast. And I'm very excited about this one because I've been meaning to talk about commercial real estate for a long time. We focus a lot on residential. So I want to again introduce Mahmoud Al-Burai, my co-host. And today we got Behnam Bargh from CRC, Managing Partner.
Hi,
welcome.
How are you? Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yes.
So commercial real estate, tell us all about it. What's going on right now?
It is a sector where a lot of people they don't actually know about, and now slowly a lot of companies are also having commercial sector. We are focusing on any asset type which is not residential, which is office, retail, warehouses, and any other commercial assets. People come to Dubai for business first or come here to live first. I guess they come for business first, right? So they get a job and they come here. So commercial is as important as residential. But obviously, when we talk about residential market, a lot of investors, they know much more about residential, so they invest in residential.
Yeah. In terms of supply and demand, how do you see it right now?
You touched on a very sensitive point that I'm a bit advocate. Over the last 5 or 6 years, real estate market in UAE and in particular in Dubai is booming, and a lot of investors investing in residential. A lot of developers are developing residential. I've been speaking to government. I've been speaking to developers. I've been speaking on radio, and literally begging for companies to come and develop commercial. From 4 years ago, we are getting to a point that we are almost 100% occupancy in a lot of premium buildings, and that supply and demand kind of equilibrium is no longer there. So what happens is people are even bidding for offices. Sometimes you have 4 or 5 people that they want to get. So the prices are going up and up and up. So the supply is short. In a short.
The demand is huge.
The demand is huge because a lot of people see the population of Dubai is growing. People need bigger offices and people need new trade licenses. And the trade license is linked with a jari of an office. Yes. So it's very important.
Correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people at the time of COVID were saying work from home, work remotely, no more offices. Do you see this is really happening? No more.
Some international organization, they are slowly going back to being full-time. But SMEs and I would say family offices here, we talk about our company, as soon as we had finished the lockdown, we asked everyone to come back. We obviously adhere to the laws. At that time, there were some limitations, right? But now...
A lot of people say maybe companies now don't need big space because people work from home.
But that doesn't work.
Not anymore.
This doesn't work for 2 reasons. One, culturally, in this country, people demand to go to office, right? We don't have a lot of... There's some companies offer flexibility. But the second very important factor people sometimes they don't know about, the number of employees that you employ in commercial sector, in offices, right? It links to your size.
Yep.
So what labor officers they do, they come and actually measure or count the number of seats and they give you quota. So for example, I have 100 people in my team. Tomorrow, if we change our strategy to go 150, I cannot get them visa. So I need to get a bigger space. And that is, I think, a key contributor to high demand.
That's good. Yeah.
I like commercial.
No, but he's absolutely right because, we also seeing a change in terms of regulation about which license you can take for each office and where can you rent if you have your license here. I think there's more flexibility to where if you take a license from a specific, where is DD or maybe DMCC or Jebel Ali, and you please feel free to explain.
Yeah.
But people now have more options. So talk about where we are in terms of license times office space.
Sure. So if you have activities that you are catering for mainland Dubai and UAE, you need to have DED license, which is Dubai Economic License. Now, there were some very good changes recently where companies, they didn't need to have the 51% Emirati partner, so you can have 100% ownership. However, if you have free zone, let's say in the MCC, you're bound to only, I would say, cater services within that free zone or outside of the country, right? For example, if if you have a Jebel Ali, free zone license, you bring goods import, but then you cannot operate without a DD license within the border of UAE. So you got some companies that have 2 licenses. What I've heard is there's going to be some flexibility around some of these free zones. Maybe they partner with each other, but some of the free zones here are also very specific. For example, DIFC is for banking sector because it's under different jurisdictions, right?
Regulations.
And if you are a finance company, insurance, let's say international bank, right? You need to be in DIFC. You can't really operate, let's say, for example, Jebel Ali free zone. So also it depends on your activity. We've got media city, internet city. There's many other free zones.
In terms of geography of commercial,
yes,
where do you see it now moving? Business space, full. So where are the new CBD?
I'm managing partner in CRC. A few years ago, we started a development company for commercial, and we've been looking for lands and opportunities for ourselves and our investors, right, to build. It's very tough to find a good land, right? The demand, I've seen a lot of people, they're moving towards having another hub. To answer your question specifically, Motor City, I see, and that corridor of Hessel Street and Suqeim, that part of Dubai land, I've seen a lot of activities. There's a few commercial building launched in Motor City. Traditionally, there was Capel, there was one control tower, and now there's a few others are building. So I'm guessing people want to live near where they work, so they're not commuting. You look, Business Bay is a beautiful place to work, but if you're living in Arabian Ranches or let's say in Jumeirah Gulf Estate, it would take you an hour now with traffic to just get out of Business Bay. The traffic is very heavy.
What are the profiles of buyers of commercial? Who are they? Are they institution? Are they individual? Are they corporates?
The way I see it is a lot of, as the rental prices are going up. So I'll give you an example. Some prime Business Bay towers, we were renting 100 dirham just after COVID. Now it's 450 dirham per square feet. So if you're a company that you've got the means, you've got the cash flow, you've got the availability of funds, or even, you have access to finance, it's getting to a point that a better buy, right? Because if you have long-term plans, a lot of companies that look at Dubai and UAE long-term, it just doesn't make sense to pay that kind of rent, right? So end users, right? We see that they're saying enough is enough, right? Obviously, as the rental price is going up, the yields are becoming very attractive to investors. So investors are also looking at the opportunity to say, oh, that's great, right? So they want to kind of capitalize on this. And if you think about it as well, if you had an office floor and you rented to a good quality company, like whether a good SME here or international firm, and they've got a 5 years contract, you almost guarantee that rent, right? So it's also low risk. Where if you have a nice villa and give it to an individual, that person can change their mind, can grow the family, it's a bit more, I would say, less risk when it comes to commercial assets.
So if we broaden the conversation of commercial, we talk about warehouse, retail, logistics. So you also feel that there's a lot of demand for that type of...
Of course. This is, again, another shift in the strategy in Dubai. Warehousing and industrial land, it was quite available before. I think because of the shift and changes that happen with the new airport, I think there's a lot of those lands are being reserved now or offered to services related to the airport, right? Which makes sense because eventually Emirates will move there, Fly Dubai will move there, and that's going to be our airport, right? So obviously the government has got a long-term vision, which I fully understand. But what also has happened is, again, we've got a shortage of industrial and the prices for industrial going. Now, what I see, because I have an office at CRC in Sharjah and Abu Dhabi, a lot of the end users, customers, if they cannot find something here, they're looking at alternatives in others. So there's a bit of a missed opportunity for Dubai, but it's good for UAE as whole because those companies, they're still going to be here, but they're going to be our sister state, Sharjah or Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about Abu Dhabi. Is the dynamics the same of Dubai?
Abu Dhabi is a bit different. Availability is there. You know, traditionally the buildings, commercial buildings, have been managed by building managers. Whether like, for example, there's a lot of banks that they've got a lot of assets, or family offices that have got assets. But the prices, they're also going up, right? Some of the, I would say, overflow of leads that they cannot find something suitable here, they would look at alternatives, especially in industrial. Kizad, it's been a big, winner. The airport there, they've got a free zone as well, and they've when I had some meetings with them, they were quite happy with the number of companies that come in there. But we are connected. We're like a hand, right? Like I look at UAE, the sister companies, we work together sometimes, obviously. And, if somebody cannot find something in one house, they find it in the other house. So this is good. That's well for the country. It's not a lose-lose, it's a win-win at the end. Maybe for the States, if they're competing, not. But again, I look at it as the same family.
Is he a surge on co-working space?
Co-working space, we've seen a lot of demands before. And the business center type, there are different business centers. We had like the WeWork style where,
Flexible use.
You had like, the good ambience there. There are a lot of, in Dira, there's a lot of traditional business center, which are like smaller offices and people renting for trade license purposes. Yeah. But again, those occupancies are also full. Like it's hard to find, it's a knock-on effect, right? Like when premium sector is full, then people look at B goes to C goes to D, and now a lot of people are moving even away to other states. Ben
is clearly upset with the situation of supply and demand.
Look, I'm not upset. Actually,
that's the reality, I think, right?
No. Like, I'm not upset. I'm very happy.
Of course.
I'll tell you why I'm happy. I have two hats here. As a commercial real estate entrepreneur, a deal now, it's got much more value, so we make more commission, right? So it's not a bad thing. One deal before we were making 10,000 dirham is 4x now, 5x, 50,000 dirham. But I look at Dubai as home now, and I want to participate in the long-term success of Dubai, right? And as someone who has a kind of overview of the market, we have people that kind of day to day, we know we have our hand on the pulse of the market, right? I think lack of supply would hurt businesses. So, there's so much they can afford, and again, the government can come up with some initiatives. They can say, look, if you're a small business, like in US, a lot of big companies like Amazon, they started from a house, a garage. They can kind of provision. If you're living in Dubai and you've got a very small company, you can use your home majority. That just kind of ease some of that pressure. But my worry is the prices going up. Look, the prices it's going double, both sales and leasing over the last 2 years.
2 years only.
Yes.
The question comes here. A lot of investors now, maybe they are a little bit worried about residential. So can we say that commercial can be a good diversifier? Like I'm as a residential investor, I can shift now to commercial. Is that something you recommend?
Yeah, a lot of professional investors, they're already diversifying commercial. A lot of REITs, a lot of funds, they just don't buy only residential. Some of them, they've got different mandates. They've got some residential mandates, some commercial. It is, at the moment, I don't see the market prices going down unless we have some, some events, kind of force measure event or some event like COVID that we don't foresee. Because of the lack of supply, the prices are going up. The supply that there are some developers, to just give you a bit of a market insight, that they've come to the market. We've seen like the likes of Omniats and, Capital One and Redix and those guys, they've come to the market now. They're building buildings or they're selling off plan. But remember, it takes 2-3 years to build those. So the handover of those units are also 3 years away, especially if you're building a high-rise. It's 5 years. So yes, it would ease, but I don't know if it can catch up. Maybe we have to kind of have some intervention from government.
But why then the hesitation from developers to do it? Because if you look at the proportion, right? If the data is so obvious and this is de-risking their sales ability, why the hesitation there? Is it because of the use of the land?
No, because so 2 to 3 years ago when we had a surge in residential market, obviously the office prices at that time, they were not making sense. So for example, we had transactions in JLT at 400 dirham per square feet. The developer looked at it and said, if I want to build a building, I have to buy the land. I have 4 years to build it. But now the same unit is 1,500.
Yeah.
It makes sense now.
Now it makes sense. So developers are businesses, right? So they look at it that at that time it didn't make sense. But now that it makes sense, guess what? Everyone's looking for land.
And no land.
Not land. The land is a big issue. You know, we need to maybe rezone some of the lands, right? We need to make it have a bit of a.
Where? Which area of Dubai?
Look, they've done some initiatives. For example, from Trade Center roundabout to Safa, recently it was GCC freehold.
Yeah.
What does it mean is if you're from GCC, you get a title deed for the land, you can build a building, but you own the whole building.
Yeah.
So now if you pay, I think 30% valuation of the asset is freehold.
Yeah.
You had a few developers like Danube and Omniat. So the Omniat recently launched 2 beautiful projects. Like they were going to be landmarks. One of them is sold out. One of them is still some availability. Lumena, and that was not. That was because of the government's, the new policy, which I really like.
Yeah.
There is availability of land. Let's be honest. Sheikh Zayed Road, both sides of Sheikh Zayed Road, there's a lot of low-rise building that could all be high-rise, right? So those changes, I mean, I hope there's a vision. I hope there's some strategy written for.
No, we see a lot of people actually with this low rise coming now, and they want to go freehold and high rise.
Okay.
So it's wherever there's demand. This is Dubai. I think Dubai is a business city.
Yeah.
Wherever there's a demand, you will see.
Sure. So if that is the question is the decision timing.
Yeah.
The timing is now. Yeah. Right. That's my message. But to be honest, we get a lot of leads. Like we if you look at, I have like the largest commercial team in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Sharjah. We probably got most number of listings and transactions. We're not closing as much because there's no options. Yeah. So that's the challenge in the market.
Great. I was really looking forward to hear about what's happening in the commercial space. Obviously, very promising, a lot of opportunities. Developers, let's build more commercial.
Let's build.
And investors, watch. The office market is undersupplied. So there's so much of opportunities.
Now the demand goes higher, the prices go higher.
And then call Ben.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben.
Really
Ben, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having you with us.
I heard so much about you.
Thank you.